Welcome back to the channel. We are in Granada, Spain. What a spot. We've been touring it for the last few days. We've been eating tapas. We've been all over the place. Right now I'm standing in front of the cathedral. Went in there, did a tour yesterday. This is where Ferdinand and Isabella, famous king and queen of Spain, they're interred here. Just a great spot. Beautiful, scenic. Now's the time for me to start taking you around to show you the food, the places to eat. We've had a lot of tapas. I'm going to take you to some tapas joints. I'm going to give you a couple of tips and tricks on how to eat great here in Granada. It's a beautiful city. I'll show you some of the sights. We're going to eat a lot of good food. Have a good time. Okay, here we go. First tip. So we're in a plaza, not far from the cathedral. I mean, the cathedral is like right here. Let me see if I can show it to you. It's like 20 feet away. Okay. This is a beautiful plaza. I'm going to pan around. You can see that there's outside dining. You can see that there's palm trees, there's statues, there's restaurants. Everything is still opening up, right? Things open up a little bit later in the day. So here's my tip. This isn't where you want to eat. Um, I've been scouting them out, looking at the restaurants. These tourist areas, the prices are going to be 3 to 4 times what you're going to pay outside of this area. Okay, the food's not going to be as good, and it's going to be very crowded. Now, let me give you an example. Okay, we went out. When I say we, my wife, people I'm traveling with, we went out for breakfast the other day. When we first got here, we were a little tired, so we spent. It's still a good price, reasonable for what it would cost in the States, but it cost, I don't know, maybe a cheese omelet, ham and cheese omelet. It's a little different than the American style ham and cheese omelet. They use the cured ham, Serrano ham, very delicious. At any rate, it might have been 750 or 850 for the omelet. Okay, that's just for the omelet. Still very reasonably priced compared to the States, but we went to breakfast about a 10-minute walk from there. We went into a little local neighborhood, very small place, one person operation. They had when we first got there, one guy taking the orders, cooking the food, clearing the tables. Later on, somebody else came in to help him out. But this was a beautiful little cafe. We had breakfast for two, a ham and cheese omelet again, two coffees, croissant for the person I was there with, plus a plate of cured Serrano ham, and pastries that my friend ate for breakfast, and and her Diet Cokes. The price for breakfast was, I think, 14 euros, but it was a spread. It was a lot. We went for tapas in a little neighborhood up past the Alhambra, Sacromonte neighborhood. Very beautiful, whitewashed buildings. We had a lunch in this hole-in-the-wall place. There was nothing around. I couldn't even believe this place was there. It was in a residential neighborhood up on a hill. And we had tapas, uh, enough for lunch. I had 2 glasses of a beautiful local wine. We each had tapas, and we shared multiple tapas. There was beer being poured. The entire bill was 16 euros. 16. Unbelievably inexpensive. So my advice to you, as scenic as these squares and these plazas are, come here, look at the scenery. This is not the optimal place where you want to eat. Okay, we'll be back. Okay, here's something that's going to be of interest. You've got the menu here. You'll see this all over town. You'll see 15 euros, and usually you'll get multiple courses. So you'll have the one and the two, the one plateau and the second, and that's plate, obviously. And you can choose one from each. And then you'll usually get something sweet. So, and that also comes, you'll see bebida and pan. So you'll see that you get a drink and bread. So you get some nice choices in there, and those are pretty standard throughout the town as far as price wise. Here's another little place here. They've got the same offerings, about 15 euros. I haven't seen that much less costly. Okay, here's another great tip. You'll see where you've got ration, half ration, one ration. So 7 euros or 9 euros. You can get different size portions of the meals. So you've got all of these really interesting looking things, right? Jamon serrano, manchego cheese, albondigas, paella, all these interesting things that you might want to taste. You can get different sizes. So when you see raciones, that's what that means. So we're going to keep exploring and we'll see what else we can find. We'll find a little tapas joint and go have lunch. Okay, I want to talk about one thing real quick here. So you've probably in your research before you're planning your trip to Spain, you're gonna see this on other videos, right? People are gonna talk about restaurants where you've got folks standing in the front, they've got menus in plastic, everything translated into English. They're catering for the tourists. They're trying to pull you into the restaurant. They're catering for the tourists. You're probably not going to want to go there. It's just not going to be quite as authentic and quite as good, right? It'll do in a pinch. I'm not saying just totally disregard, but there's certain places you want to look for, right? So if you look at this place behind me, little tiny place, hole in the wall. I'll try to get a better shot inside. Everything is written on a chalkboard out front. It's all in Spanish. You've got a sign on the door that they don't take credit cards. They just have cash. They've got a little bar on the inside, and everybody's just sitting at the bar having a drink and having some tapas, right? They're in and out. The tapas are probably a few bucks a piece, and they're gonna have a much better experience than a heavily commercialized tourist focused restaurant. Let's call it that. All right. Okay, here's the tip. I know it's not food related, but this is important. You see that ATM across there? See it says Euro cash? Do not use those. The only ATM you want to use is in a bank. You use those ATMs, you're going to get ripped off. The conversion rates are ridiculous. The service fees are ridiculous. Don't use those. There's plenty of banks. Walk into the bank or use the ATM right outside the bank that's attached to the bank, and you're going to save yourself a ton of money. You're not going to need a lot of money because I have been using tap to pay, on my phone, credit card, every place. Yeah, I've maybe spent in cash, I don't know, 5 euros since I've been in Spain. You don't need to have a lot of cash. Really nice. I'm sorry for the construction noise in the back. I'll move the mic closer. You've got bakeries all over the place. You're going to run into them everywhere. This is just, you can see a little local bakery. Fantastic. Great food, great baked goods, breads, pastries. They're all over. These are fantastic and very, very inexpensive. I want to show you something real quick. So what we've done is we've walked away from the touristy area. We're in basically one of many, many squares in the area. It's just beautiful. Okay, you can see behind me. It's quiet. People are living their lives. There are orange trees. I don't know if you can see them back there. Orange trees everywhere. They line the streets. Citrus trees galore. It's really beautiful. You've got little places here. You've got a pharmacy. We just passed another little bakery. There's a barber shop. Get out of the tourist areas. Get into these areas. I walked maybe 5 minutes from the cathedral. You're in a cool little neighborhood. This is where you're going to find the great places to eat. I highly recommend it. This is a very walkable town. Get out. Right now the weather's phenomenal. It's maybe 60 degrees. There's not a cloud in the sky, and here we are in early March, so it's fantastic. But get away from the tourist areas. Go poke around. Tremendously walkable city. Okay, I'll be back soon. Another tip. All these non-food related tips. I know it's a food channel, but I'm walking around seeing things that might help you out. These signs all over the city, historical markers. It's going to help you know what you're looking at. You're in a country, you may understand the language, you may not, you may know enough to get by. They've got them in English, and on the other side is Spanish. So stop, and you'll be able to know what you're looking at. For instance, I'm going to spin you around and try not to get you dizzy. I'm at this big, beautiful building and botanical garden. So it talks about the history of the botanical garden. It talks about what I'm looking at, the history of the building. and it makes your stay here a little bit more informed. You know what you're looking at. Okay, I gotta find tapas. So I ordered a beer, and they bring out this little appetizer. It's very small. It's just very nice. And as long as you continue to sit here and drink, odds are they're going to continue to bring you out little appetizers. This looks like a pork loin. It looks like a little paprika or chili powder on top. I haven't tasted it yet. On some bread. It's just really nice. And we've got a beautiful location. Sorry about the street noise, but just a beautiful location. I mean, you can see this lovely building, the orange trees out front. Folks are walking around. People are sitting. You can hear people laughing, having a great time. The establishment is right here. We could have gone inside, but the weather is so beautiful, and I'm enjoying the warm up from the colder weather that we had in Virginia right now. So I encourage you, get out and find the little spots. Okay, so I'm heading back to the hotel, and I want you to see, if you look behind me, and I'll flip around so you can see in front of me, the types of streets that you're going to be looking for places to eat. Um, Little places. Something to keep in mind here is that these streets are narrow, and there's cars and motorcycles all over the place. But if you look behind, now let me flip it around, you can look in front of me. Actually, I'll just turn around and get off the street. See behind me? That's what you're looking for. These little streets inside the town. Fantastic opportunities to find little holes in the wall. Like some of these places have their gates down. They don't open until dinner time. But here I am. You can see the menu. Where is it? Right there in pink on the wall. The menus look great. When these guys open later in the evening, they're packed. This is not a super touristy area. You're going to get pretty good food. So I know this video is turning into kind of a tips on how to eat in Granada and what to look for. And I want to share with you what I found. I think it's going to be really useful. So it's a little hard to walk. I'm sharing the street here, and I'm about to come to a very busy street. There'll be a lot going on. So I'm going to leave you here for a little bit. Okay, let me wrap up the Granada video here. Here's my take on Granada. And I know this format was a little bit different than the usual, where I sit down at a restaurant, I'll try a burger, I'll try whatever. This is more of a kind of an overview of eating, kind of things to look for, things not to look for when you're in Granada. Pretty much anywhere in Spain. Find the local spots if you can. Go off the beaten path. But if you see these little plazas, these little squares, they're filled with cafes and there's lots of people there, go there too. I think you'll be okay. At the end of the day, the food's going to be pretty good. Drink the wine, order the tapas, eat the cheese, eat the ham, look like a tourist. You are a tourist. I'm a tourist. And it's perfectly fine. The food's going to be great. I think you'll have a good time. If you can, get off the beaten path. Go to the local cafes. Go to the local restaurants. Go where you don't speak the language. It's okay. Use Google Translate. I've used it all the time. I've looked at the menus, looked at the ingredients. I've spoken with people using Google Translate. It's fine. You'll figure it out. They'll figure out what you want. Everything will be fine. So that's my advice to you: is eat everything, drink everything, and have a really great time. Granada is a wonderful city. It's scenic. It's got a ton of history. It's my favorite spot in Spain so far, certainly on this trip, and also on my other trips. And of all the locations I've been to, the people are great. You've got a great combination between city life. It's surrounded by the Sierra Nevada mountains, so you've got country life. It's just a beautiful spot. The history, the old town, the little alleys that you can get lost in, and get lost. Don't be scared to get lost. And that's where you're going to find the little top-up joints, and you're going to find the little bars, and you're going to have a really good experience. So I really hope this video was helpful, and it gave you a little bit of information on what you're going to find restaurant-wise, bakery-wise, tapas joint-wise. Enjoy it. That's the bottom line. Get out there and enjoy it. Granada's great. Okay, next, we're on to Portugal.